My name is Camila Duarte, and I will never forget the day my mother slapped me in front of 200 people. It wasn't just the sound that echoed through the school auditorium, it was the silence that followed. That silence said everything. Shame, confusion, humiliation, all of it. I was 17. It was awards day at my high school. A big event. Students, teachers, parents, siblings. The place was packed. I had worked hard for this. Months of preparation for the regional science fair. Late nights, cold coffee, skipped outings, and finally, I had done it. First place. My name was on the certificate. My project had impressed judges from 3 different universities. As I stood on that stage, accepting the award, all I wanted was to find her in the crowd and see a smile. Just one. But my mother, Anna Duarte, stood at the back, arms crossed, face hard as stone. No clap, no nod, just ... ice. After the ceremony, families gathered to take pictures. I walked toward her, trophy in hand, heart still racing, and she didn't say a word. I managed to smile and said, "Did you see it? I won." She leaned in and hissed, "You embarrassed me. Your shirt was untucked on stage. Do you know how that makes me look?" Before I could answer, her hand flew. One sharp slap to the side of my face. A slap so loud, it made a few heads turn. And then, silence. My face burned. Not from pain, but from shame. My classmates watched, my teachers watched, strangers watched, but no one said a word. I stood there, not moving, eyes stinging, chest tight. She turned and walked away, and just like that, a part of me broke. A part of me that had spent years trying to earn her love. Since I was a kid, nothing I did was enough for Anna. I was too loud, too quiet, too messy, too plain. Every report card, every birthday, every school play, there was always something wrong. She loved perfection, and I was anything but. But that day, that was the day something shifted. Something final. That slap didn't just hit my skin, it woke up my soul. And it whispered, "You have to get out." I didn't cry, not then. I walked home alone, trophy clutched in my hands like it could protect me. I went up to my room and sat on the edge of the bed, staring at nothing. I didn't hear the TV downstairs. Didn't hear the cars outside. Just my own heartbeat. Slow, loud, steady. That was the moment I decided something had to change. I didn't know how, I didn't know when. But I knew that the girl who got slapped in front of 200 people, she wasn't going to let that be her story. Not forever. The day after the slap, I didn't speak to her. Not out of rebellion. Not out of anger. I just didn't have the words anymore. Something inside me had shut off. Like a door quietly closing. Behind me, she acted like nothing happened. Made her morning coffee. Watched her soap operas. As if she hadn't shattered something essential inside me the night before. She wasn't the kind of mother who apologized. Anna Duarte didn't believe in softness. She believed in control. And I had learned, over 17 years, to walk on eggshells and call it home. But I didn't cry. I didn't plead. Instead, I began to disappear. Not physically, but emotionally. I stopped telling her how my day went. I stopped asking for her advice. I stopped trying to make her proud. She noticed. Of course she did. But instead of asking, she criticized. She'd make comments like, "You're moody lately," or "A teenage attitude doesn't suit you." I'd nod, say nothing, keep moving. I began spending more time at the school library. Not studying, just existing. Reading, thinking, planning. I needed air, and that place became my oxygen mask. Mr. Jacobs, my chemistry teacher, noticed first, "Camila, you all right?" I hesitated, then nodded. "Just focused." "Focused is good," he said, "but don't burn yourself out. You shine when you let yourself breathe." That stuck with me. So I started writing, not essays, not reports. Just thoughts, feelings, secrets. I bought a small, cheap journal and filled it with everything I couldn't say out loud, pages soaked in truth. That journal became my best friend, my safe space. Every day, I grew quieter at home and louder on paper. My friends noticed too. I stopped going out, stopped laughing at jokes that used to crack me up. They asked, "Is everything okay at home?" I always answered, "I'm just tired. Tired of pretending, tired of reaching for a woman who only knew how to pull away." But behind that exhaustion, something new began to form. Determination. I knew I couldn't stay there forever. That house was a cage with floral curtains. I needed to fly, even if my wings were still growing. So I started researching scholarships. Schools out of town, programs that offered dorms and food plans. I didn't tell anyone. Not even my closest friend Lori. This was my secret. My escape plan. At night, I'd wait until Anna went to bed. Then open my laptop and search. Every acceptance requirement I read felt like a whisper. You can get out. Just hold on. One night, I found it. A university 2 states away. Full scholarship for STEM students. Room and board, mentorship, a fresh start. I bookmarked the page, my hands trembled, and I wrote in my journal, she may have slapped me in front of everyone, but one day I'll walk across the stage again, and this time I'll be untouchable. Applying was the easy part, hiding it. That was the real challenge. I couldn't let Anna know what I was doing. If she found out, she'd sabotage it. She'd make calls, she'd say no. Not because she wanted me close, but because she wanted control, so I worked in silence. Printed application forms at school, saved money from tutoring kids in math after classes. Laurie thought I was just being a nerd again. She didn't question it, I was glad. The essays were the hardest. Writing about why I deserved a chance without sounding desperate. But I was desperate. Desperate for a future where I didn't have to tiptoe through my own house. When I finally mailed the application, my hands were shaking. I walked out of the post office and sat on the curb, staring at the mailbox. I had done it, the first real step toward freedom. Weeks passed, school got harder, home got colder, Anna grew suspicious. Why are you always on that computer? She asked. Just schoolwork, I replied, which wasn't a lie, just not the whole truth. One afternoon, I came home and found my journal open on the bed, pages ruffled. My heart sank. She had read it. I confronted her. She didn't deny it. Just looked at me and said, "You're blaming me for your sadness now." "No," I said. "I'm just not hiding it anymore." She scoffed. "You think the world owes you softness. It doesn't." "I don't want softness," I said, calmer than I felt. "I want space." She didn't answer, just walked away. That night, I moved the journal to my locker at school. 2 months later, the letter came. A thick envelope, university crest on the front. I stared at it for 10 full minutes before opening it. Accepted. Full scholarship. Housing included. Orientation date confirmed. My breath caught in my chest. I was really going. And Anna, she still had no idea. I waited until the very last week. 7 days before orientation, I woke up with a kind of calm I hadn't felt in years. My bag was packed and hidden. Documents were ready. My future was printed on paper, tucked in a folder under my bed. I came downstairs. She was in the kitchen, pouring coffee like any other morning. I stood in the doorway for a second, watching her in silence. "I need to tell you something," I said. She didn't look up. "Go ahead. I got a scholarship. I'm leaving for university. It's out of state. I leave next week." She froze. The silence between us stretched thin, like glass about to shatter. "What do you mean you're leaving?" she said slowly. "I've been planning this for months. I didn't tell you because I knew what you'd do." Her face hardened. "You think you're too good for this family now?" "No," I said. "I think I deserve a life that doesn't hurt." "You're running away?" "No," I replied. "I'm moving forward." She slammed her mug down. "And you just decided this without me. You decided a long time ago that my feelings didn't matter. This was my decision to make." I walked away. I didn't wait for her to answer. That week was tense. She didn't speak to me again. Just moved around the house like a ghost, slamming things, pretending I wasn't there. But I felt freer than ever. The night before I left, I wrote a letter. Not for her, for me. "Dear Camila, you made it. Not because of her. In spite of her. You fought alone. You dreamed in silence. And now, you get to breathe. Don't forget this version of you. The one who believed, even when no one else did." The next morning, I left. While she was still asleep, quietly, just like I had lived for years. On the bus, as the city shrank behind me, I looked out the window and smiled. Not because everything was okay, but because for the first time, it could be. Campus was loud and alive. My dorm was small, but it was mine. No judgment, no slamming doors, no walking on eggshells. I met my roommate, Becca. She was loud, warm, chaotic in a way I wasn't used to, but kind. She asked questions like, "What music do you like? And do you want to come eat with us?" I didn't know how to answer at first, but slowly I did. I walked to class without fear, spoke up in lectures, joined a study group. I felt human. One professor, Dr. Green, pulled me aside after class. "You've got something special, Camila. Keep going." I wanted to cry right there, because no one had ever said that to me without an edge. At night, I'd sit by the window and write. My journal now filled with things like, I'm not surviving anymore, I'm living. I got a part-time job at the campus library, bought myself coffee every week as a treat, celebrated small Wednesday's tests, new friends, laughter, real laughter. I called home once. She didn't answer. But I didn't need her to. A year later, I was selected to present at a national science conference. My research was solid, my passion undeniable. I stood on a stage again, this time in front of 2,000 people. And when I spoke, my voice didn't shake. At the end, there was applause. Long, loud, real. Someone backstage asked, "Your parents must be so proud." I smiled gently. They have no idea. That night, I sent her a message. 3 years ago, you slapped me in front of 200 people. Today, 2,000 people clapped for me. I thought you'd want to know. No reply. But I didn't need one. 3 years passed. I was invited to speak at my old high school. Alumni guest speaker. I almost said no. But something told me, go back and show her who you became. The auditorium hadn't changed. The lights, the air, even the curtains were the same. I stood on the same stage she slapped me under. But now, I stood tall. I told my story not with blame, but with truth. I spoke of shame, of silence, of survival, and of rebuilding. I saw teachers nod, students tear up, the principal hugged me after. And at the back of the room, in the shadows, stood Anna. We locked eyes. She didn't clap, she didn't smile, but she didn't look away. Later, she approached me. You really changed, she said. I had to, I replied. I didn't know how to love you right, I know. And that was enough. Today, I live in a quiet apartment filled with light. I teach, I mentor, I write, I laugh. I love Anna sends cards now. Not often. Just enough to remind me she's watching, even if from a distance. Sometimes I reply, sometimes I don't. Because forgiveness isn't always a conversation. Sometimes it's just peace. My name is Camila Duarte, and once my mother slapped me in front of 200 people. But now, thousands listen when I speak. And I don't speak in anger, I speak in truth. If you've ever been silenced, doubted, or torn down, know this. Your story isn't over. Not yet. Share your story in the comments. And if mine touched you, don't forget to like and subscribe, because healing is real. And you are not alone.